We'll begin with a short prayer and a salute to our flag. Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all of our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. Salute to our flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jess. Statement of publication, please.
Take notice that this regular meeting of the mayor and council being held this 27th day of June 2022 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Conti.
Here.
June 4.
Here.
Mar.
Here.
Novak.
Here.
Noha.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Okay, with that, we have no proclamations or presentations for today. Oh, I'm so sorry. We have approval of prior minutes from our council president, Councilwoman Mar, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the prior minutes of the mayor and council from June 13th, 2022, regular and agenda sessions.
Is there a second? Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Mar.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
June 4.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Noha.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Any need for executive session today?
No, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Old business then, Jessica?
Public hearing on ordinance number 16-22, an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 16, water and sewer, section 16.1 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville.
At this time, I will open to the public for any and all comments under ordinance number 1622. If you wish to speak, please step forward or raise your hand virtually. Seeing none at this time, I will entertain a motion.
I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
June 4.
I actually have a question. Can Councilman Roberts please explain what this ordinance is about? Because when I was reading it based off of the agenda that was sent to us, I believe that we're having an increase in our water bill. Can we go
So
into
yes, if
detail?
I could, we had already approved that increase. What this is doing is correcting an omission from the original ordinance to give the seniors a 5% discount. We want to keep that in. So that was the only change.
Okay, so it's the seniors that is getting the 5% discount.
Yes.
That's the one that I saw for
Yes,
65 years and older. Okay, no problem. Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Noha.
Yes.
At this time, ordinance number 1722. Jess?
An ordinance by the mayor and council amending the Borough of Saraville Code of Ordinances to repeal chapter 23 to adopt a new chapter 23 to adopt flood hazard maps to designate a floodplain administrator and providing for the severability and an effective date.
At this time, I open to the public for any and all questions or comments regarding this ordinance. Please step forward or raise your hand virtually. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. Councilman Anoha.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the public hearing be closed and the ordinance adopted on the second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Anoha. Conti.
Yes.
June 4.
I have a question for Councilman Onoha. Can you please explain this ordinance more in detail for me, please?
Yes, ma'am. Overall, adding additional items to the, chapter 32 and, providing more details on the, administrator to be added and additional information.
Okay, because when it says, when it talks about the flood hazard maps, what is it referring to?
Just one moment here.
Kirk.
Do we want to refer to Kirk? Yeah.
I'll be glad to.
Kirk, come on up, please. Just give a little bit more insight into our floodplain and our maps here for Councilwoman June 4th.
Okay, I'm Kirk Mick, construction official, floodplain manager. What happened is.
Sorry, sir, I didn't hear you. You're Mr. Kirk
Mick,
from?
the Borough of Saraville. I'm the construction official and floodplain manager.
That's the part I didn't hear. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Okay. After Sandy, the Department of Environmental Protection, FEMA threw together a floodplain ordinance to be adopted by all the municipalities in the state, not just ones that are in flood zones. It was kind of haphazard. It didn't define development. It didn't protect was provided less protection to residents as far as rebuilding. What this ordinance does, it defines the areas in which the maps are going to study. It gives the dates, and right now the maps aren't approved finally, so it gives best available information. But the biggest thing about that, it gives developers and residents an appeal of a venue to appeal. They go to the planning board. In the past, it was to mayor and council, and that's not the proper venue. It doesn't have engineers, no offense, but doesn't have engineers, doesn't have planners. So it goes to the planning board, and also it really helps, not to get into too much detail, it really helps the resident that, real quick, if the old ordinance said, if you had damage from Sandy, it's cumulative, or any work that you do in your house for the future adds up, and if it reaches 50% of your pre-storm value of your house, you have to automatically raise the house. What I did here, and it's with Woodbridge and everything else, what I did here is that we put a 10-year window on. So you go back 10 years instead of like the life of the house. And you know, over time, regular maintenance will make you have to raise the house. So it's just more defined, a little more in touch with what's going on, and that's about it. And if you have any questions, feel free.
Would it be fair to say that within this ordinance, from what I read, as you were stating, that it gives our residents a little bit more course of action? It really gives them a little bit more protections, and it keeps their wallets from being completely emptied in the event
Well,
of having
what
to
it is
raise.
intended to do is that now the borough, now that we adopt this, and it has to be adopted. Now that we adopt this, we move into the community rating system for flood insurance.
Mhm.
That's a process. It's going to take a while. This took over a year to get this through, but it'll take a while. But at that point, when, depending on our rating we get from the state, from FEMA, they could save 5 to like 20% on their flood insurance. Without adopting this, we wouldn't even, we lose points and not qualify for it.
And you had mentioned Woodbridge, which we know there were several other
Yeah,
towns.
Woodbridge they're on top of it. They have their own crew and everything like that. So
Yes.
they've really helped me a lot. And I think that, I'm not sure if it's true, but from what I understand, like one of, I think, 3 or 4 municipalities in the county that has adopted it, and we're ahead of everybody else, which is also pretty good. We get adopted and get it out of the way.
I appreciate that, Kirk. That's
No
what
problem.
that's what I anticipated you would have said for us.
Good.
Councilwoman Novak, did you have a question? No, okay. Yes, it is.
Got a yes from me.
So now at this time, we need to continue with our vote unless anybody has any additional questions. Yeah, so we're continuing with our vote.
Mar,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Roberts.
Before I say my vote, I want to thank Mr. Kirk for answering my questions on this and letting me know how it will really benefit our insurance rates and the flood zones. And I appreciate all the work that you put into this and your staff. So thank you. And yes.
Okay, bond ordinance number 18-22, bond ordinance providing for various road improvements for the borough of Saraville, New Jersey, appropriating $3,600,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,420,000 bonds or notes of the borough for financing part of such appropriation.
At this time, once again, I'll entertain comments from the public. If you were here, please step forward or raise your hand virtually. Seeing none at this time, I'll once again entertain a motion. This will be Administration and Finance. Councilwoman Novak, please.
Move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
June 4.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Anoha.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Bond ordinance number 19-22, bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of vehicles and equipment in by and for the borough of Saraville, New Jersey, appropriating $3,070,000. Therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,916,500 bonds or notes of the borough for financing part of such appropriation.
At this time, once again, I am open to the public for any and all comments regarding this ordinance. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. Administration and Finance yet again. Councilwoman Novak, please.
I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted in second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
June 4.
And this is in regards to?
Ordinance number 19-22.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Anoha.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I did not see any appointments within our packet, but before we move on to our next piece, which is new business, we did have quite an extraordinary circumstance that took place today in our borough. And while we are all extremely and very proud of our police department and all of our emergency responders for all the work they do every single day, this particular event that took place today is absolutely outstanding. There are no words that I can use to describe this. When our police officers are called into action to save a life, it is always a harrowing experience. From the details that I have, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 amazing officers that were able to save the life of a baby. Oh, was that me?
Yes.
Possibly. Dan, I'll ask you, did we have any age or any additional details?
We believe that the baby was between 9 months and a year old, but we don't have all the details right now. And, but they were called in action and they were very well served the community.
Truly heroes. And we have this little angel still with us today. For just a brief moment, I'd like to just, I know these officers will probably put their heads down and say, this is what I do every single day. I don't need to be noticed for this, but they do. Because I cannot imagine what it is like to turn around and be called into action like they do. And to have to immediately react, to look into a little baby's eyes and do what they did. It's truly, truly something that takes a special person. So the following officers are just from the bottom of our heart. And I think that this council should consider how we can honor them in the more appropriate manner. And I'm quite certain they will more than likely say, no, no, please, but I think we need to do this. So Keith Grossman, Kevin Soto, Dave Savilli, Charles Novak, Brian Braille, Jeff Casella, and Lieutenant Novak, on behalf of the council and on behalf of our residents and that beautiful little angel that is still with us today. We thank you, and I'll ask that we all just, I know they're not here, but they're surely watching or listening. I think that deserves. And to that family, this council is here for any help or assistance that they could possibly need, as always. Thank you to our police and to our first responders. With that, we are going to continue to move forward with new business. We do not have any new ordinances for today, but we are going to move on with our consent agenda resolutions. I will open to the public at this time for any comments or questions regarding the consent agenda resolutions only. Please step forward if you have any questions or raise your hand if you're online. Oh my, this is a quick one today. Okay. Then seeing none under consent agenda resolutions, I will entertain a motion. Council President Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the public hearings be closed and the consent agenda resolutions be approved on roll call votes.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4.
Have questions.
That's-
Okay, all yeses except for 163, 164, 165, 166, 168, 170.
Wait.
Hold on, you are going fast. I'm checking them all. That's okay.
63, 64, 65.
66,
Uh-huh.
168,
Okay,
170.
okay. Those are all no's?
Question
Questions?
Questions.
before I vote on it,
Okay.
because I will need to get, and the rest of it is a yes. For everything else is yes, except for those that I've just mentioned.
Did you want to ask your questions first?
Yes,
So that way we can get your vote on those.
yes. So can we go into more details with the ones that I have questions? 22-163.
63, there's flexible
QP.
spending account.
Yes, that's the flexible spending account. Employees are allowed to benefit by a pre-tax contribution. I'm sorry, hold on. So what happens is the employees are allowed to have a deduction out of their paycheck, and it goes into what is called a flexible spending account. They then draw down on that account for, say, childcare expenses or medical expenses. And what happens is the deduction that comes out of their paycheck is a pre-tax deduction, so it benefits the employee.
So it's not going to affect them.
No, ma'am.
Okay, you got a yes on that one from me. 164, please.
164.
164 is we participate in a Jersey State contract for us to make sure that we're awarding servers and storage These are computer service storage and designs through the company that's approved by state contract. And that's the amount that we need for new servers and storage.
Is there anything wrong with our current server?
Yeah, these are updates. You always have to upgrade your servers. Yeah.
Okay. And 165?
That's a grant that our recycling coordinator puts in an application every year for a municipal alliance grant that is her programs that are shared with the school. And we were able to receive $16,000 from Middlesex County. So this is a receipt for that.
166?
Are you okay with that? Or you?
Yes.
Okay. 166 is we receive money from the federal government with the Community Development Block Grant. This allocation that we had this year was $239,000. We are applying that money to our senior center parking lot is a wreck right now. Make sure of safety for them, and part of that other money is for the administration of the grant. I'm sorry.
Active Adult Center, that's right.
Active Adult Center, pardon me. Thank you.
Got a yes for me from that one. 168, please.
That's the change order.
It's
Change order
a
for-
change order on what we're purchasing from a side loader. It's a change order, which just increases the original contract of the amount. So unfortunately, that amount increased by $6,000. So we have to approve that in a separate resolution.
Okay, I see yes. 170?
So we in our water treatment plant, we need to repair and maintain our cranes and equipment. And this is the company that was awarded the contract in order to do that. It's bid out every year, and that's the company that was awarded that.
Okay. Got a yes on that from me. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, Councilwoman June Four?
Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Yes.
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 Okay. At this time, let me just flip my paper right here. I'll once again ask our Borough Attorney, do we have any report?
No report, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And now I will open to the public for any and all comments for the good of the order. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you?
But
Oh.
I'll do that at the.
Okay. So at this time, if you have anything that you would like to question, comment, or ask, you can come forward. Please state your name and address for the record. Virtually, please raise your hand. There is a 5-minute limit. I will ask Nicole to just start our timer for that, so that all residents have an opportunity to speak. Please come forward.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there. Hi, my name is Eileen Donahue. My husband Michael is behind me, and my neighbors, we live in the Old Bridge section of Sayreville,
We'll just need your street address for the record.
27 Charles Street.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Basically, I'm representing the Old Bridge section of Sayreville, and my neighbors I had to rally are here. We basically had open records report opened from the engineer that indicated our roads have not been paved since 1987, 1988. Several of my neighbors, and I thank you, who have attempted to have the town come and take a look. We pay taxes, and I know everybody does, but the roads are crumbling, visibly crumbling, deteriorating, and our taxes are going up. So basically, we waited for Hurricane Sandy. They were working on our William Street to do some curb and drainage, and they paused the project. So it was memorialized in your township meeting, June 10th, by the borough engineer that the project to finish William Street was paused, and decision makers, some of them are still here, decided to discuss in the 2020 meeting with the budget to see if they could find funding to complete the asphalt. At this point, there's poor pitching. There's issues with water sitting around. It's accumulating near streets that enter William and Charles Street, which is our street and our neighbor's street. There's water sitting around, there's critters, there's birds, it's nasty looking. There's protruding manholes. Children have fallen. I know the one neighbor's son hurt himself. She was going to come and show you pictures, but I know she had a situation and couldn't attend. It's very hard to rally up the neighbors. Everybody's got lives, or kids are out of school. There's great marks on William Street, which I know Dan Frankel was one of the gentlemen I was talking to about how they finished William Street. There are great marks, there's divots, there's cracks. I took pictures. I have something that I actually had shared with my neighbors with the Oprah report with all the pictures of 4-inch deep divots on John Street. The neighbors on John Street, the children play on one side of the street because they cannot actually allow their kids to play or they'll fall. We also have a senior citizen on my street, Irene. She can't walk around. It's too dangerous. So the long and the short is, we just want to know what the situation is based on the meeting that happened, I guess, in June, where there were funds that were reallocated. And I was told by Dan to rally the troops to find funding. So I don't know. I do have a copy of what was on the memorialized minutes from Ms. Donahue, which is me. So we're here. And I'd like to know if my neighbors would like to speak, because I was told we only have 5 minutes. I don't want to take up their time for them to speak. June, Roy, Bo, Susie. Susie actually has been here several times as well. Anybody? I'm sorry, who are you?
There you go. You can reset that time.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is a neighbor on my street. Everybody, I gave them a flyer. And it's a neighbor I didn't even
Yes.
know.
That's fine. Just so that you know, I don't expect all of your neighbors to come up and have to fit into your 5 minutes
I
of
know, I just
time.
felt like they're here. I appreciate
Yeah, no,
it.
they get their own 5 minutes.
Oh, they
They
do?
they do. They do. They do. You're welcome.
Robert Florentine, 45 Charles Street. I live on the corner of Charles and William Street. Every time it rains, there's just puddles and puddles of water that just migrate in the street there from one side to the other. And so in the summertime, you get mosquitoes there. The water sits there for 7 or 10 days at a time, just lays in the middle of the street. The only time it dissipates is when I go out there with a broom, and push it into the catch basin. The catch basin's about an inch or so above the grade, so the water will never drain. It just lays there all the time. In the winter time, it turns into ice. So it rains, ice forms there. It's also a school bus stop on the corner there. 2 years ago, when it rained, ice, and then it snowed, you can't see the ice under, but it's all there under the street. My son was making a turn off of Williams onto Charles. His car slid, back tire hit the catch basin where the concrete is there. He broke his rim, broke his tire, undercarriage body work. It was over a couple of $1,000s of damage on the street, 20 feet from my house, because you can't see the ice under the snow. I've been living there for 5.5 years. I kept thinking, oh, they're gonna pave the road eventually. Now it's so bad that I don't tell people I live there anymore. It looks like it's abandoned streets. I've lived in other towns in the area, but I've never seen anything like this ever. We're actually, it looks like someone pulled up all the macadam and just left it there, but no one's ever fixed it. They come by once in a while and they patch a couple of spots, and it lasts for a month or so and then it's gone again. So the water keeps accumulating. Even today, just a little bit of rain, it's there right now again today. It's never going away. I was even thinking about drilling a hole in the street so the water would drain or something. I was like, something's got to be happen here to get this water out of here. So I appreciate the neighbors putting this together. But again, the only word I have for the whole street situation is it's embarrassing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So my name is Bojana Nace. I'm at 54 David Street.
Hang on, just come up because Jess can't hear you until you're close to the mic. That's all.
Bojana, Bozena, Nace, Nasce, 54 David Street. So I'm going to piggyback off of what he said also. And I was thinking about the same thing. It is an embarrassment. I'm there 33 years and we purchased one of the new houses on David Street. And a lot of people took the buyout. Okay, we opted not to, okay, because I love living there. I love my house. And we didn't have that much time. We had not that much time to either say we're going to stay or go. We had to fix our house right away. I had mold coming up in 2 days. So I had nowhere else to go. Fortunately for me, I have a bi-level. So I lived upstairs, to take care of everything downstairs. And we paid a lot of money. I paid over $100,000 to fix my house. And I did it myself, we did it ourselves. So do I want to move? No, I love it. Okay. Streets, definitely. Definitely. The streets are horrible. My neighbors on the corner, they're school teachers. They ruined 2 tires already going into, and I believe it was William Street when they were coming down. And there's water that sits everywhere. My husband, my neighbors, we take care of our property. No one, and I'm sorry to say this, but none of you come around
to see what's there. We take care of it. The state was supposed to they were supposed to mow the lawns with the houses that were down next to us. They don't. We do. We spend the money for the gas. We spend the money for the electric. We take care of everything there. And that's bar none, everything. And that goes without say. And there's a lot more children. When I moved, there wasn't that many children there. But it's an old development. Yes, it definitely is an old development. But why can't you make it new again? I know you can't build, because, Green Acres and all of this, so you can't build on it. All right. But again, we stay there. We like it there. Why can't you help us? Why can't we have somebody come and look around and just say, what's going on here? Okay, so we're off of, when I first moved here, I'm like, oh God, all right, so there's a factory here, this, and the factory's 24 hours going like crazy, and we take pride. Everyone here takes pride in our houses. I have family that come, especially I had family that came yesterday and they're like, oh, it's like, you look around, you're coming from, Bordentown Avenue. It's like, where'd this come from? The houses are dropped from out of the sky. They're beautiful. So let's do something about it. Why can't, we're asking for a street. We asked for street lights. We got nowhere. And that was how many years ago? 33. God, no, I'm there 33 years. There you go. Nothing. It's dark. Okay. We have animals there and this and that. I mean, fun. I love animals. We had the raccoons there last night. It's fine. But I just don't understand why can't we get those streets paved? Why? I know all about budget. I worked for the Port Authority for 40 something years. So nobody's budget is worse than theirs, so I want to reach out to you guys, and so do all of us here. Please, that's all we're asking. If it's not in the budget now, this year, I know budget, put it in for next year. Just help us. Help us do something, please. That's all we ask for.
Thank you, Bo.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
Okay.
Jay, are there streets on your radar at all?
No, the resident is correct. William Street was under contract when we had the storms, and the final coat of paving was deleted from the contract because of the potential to have heavy equipment go in and knock the houses down. So that was why it was removed. That contract was closed out. That money was reallocated somewhere else. So that's why that road was never finished. It had just the base coat, it had the storm sewer improvements, but it never had the finished coat done. There weren't any plans to do the other streets. It was just William Streets. That's the only one that you did have a contract for, but you never did the final paving.
And wait, hold on 1 second. Because I want your Irene, I assume.
Irene Geipel, 18 Charles Street.
Okay.
I've been having my letters written by very many people, and we want the street paved. There's many cracks and potholes. It's very difficult at my age to walk. And my doctor says I should walk, but it's just impossible. It's just very difficult to get around. And they say, well, it's not in the budget. Well, why can't it be put in the budget and get those streets paved for safety? Not only that, with the kids, they ride bikes, they go by, they're dangerous. And of course, the water problem on the corner of that the other person spoke about, that should be addressed too. Thank you.
I hear you. Thank you, Irene. I appreciate that. Anybody else, residents that are here? And then I think we'll once again tap into our CFO. We'll talk from the council. Hi, please come up. Name and address, please.
And I live on 40 Charles Street.
Name, I'm sorry.
Susan Solomon.
Susan Solomon.
So, no, I agree. Boken have said it better. How much money we put into our homes. Also my car, how many times I've had to get flat tires repaired. And same thing with the old people. I mean, my mom passed a year ago. I couldn't even walk her around the neighborhood in her wheelchair. So it has to be done. Another thing, Dan Frankel told me we were told to get out. No, we were offered buyouts. So.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay.
And what about, Mayor, what about the lighting situation?
The lighting situation, I mean, that's going back 33 years. So, yeah. I will say, I usually know an awful lot, at least in the time that I've been here. 33 is definitely well before I've been here. I was 10, so I definitely didn't have any hand at that.
Dan, do you know why there can't be streetlights in that neighborhood?
I don't know. I mean, Jersey Central, we could always request Jersey Central to put lights up, but that charge will come to us, but we'd have to go back. Jay, we'd have to go request Jersey Central to put lights.
Well, we definitely can't put lights up. I know that I had a request about 7, 8, probably when I was first on the council, a street in Morgan, same type of situation. There was like only a street light at one end and a street light at the other. So I do know in my own research and my own connection and conversations, we were told we are not allowed as a municipality to put up our own lights. That's out of our abilities to do. We have to get their approvals to do that. But the cost of any type of lighting, of course, would be borne on to the borough. So they'll turn around, come in, assess. We're not allowed to touch it. We're not allowed to put our employees, and I understand that. That's not what we do here. We're not trained electricians with those levels of power and so forth. They want things done the right way, because if something gets hit, taken down, or someone gets injured, they're responsible for that. But we're responsible for the payment of it. That's what I was told. Am I correct in that, Jay? Okay, so I do understand that. We would have to put that out. Does anybody from the council have issue with having Dan contact JCP&L and take a look at that particular road, finding out how many lights, how many miles, how long is, I'm trying to think, William Street, but that they're all,
William is the main, and you have.
William is the main, and then you have the other arteries that are coming off. So they'd have to come and look. I think Dan put that on your agenda, unless anybody from the council has objection to that. That we can definitely do, look into that, make that call. In addition to that, we'd have to turn around and find out, don't waste time, because we only have one meeting a month in the summer. So let's get all the information, not just how many lights, but how much that cost would be, because we'll have to make decisions. The council will have to make decisions on that. So it gives us a month to kind of find out and get that information. I do know JCP&L, they've been out a lot lately. When we tried to turn around and have them do assessments on our lights and repair them, they gave us a whole runaround saying, we're very delayed. So when you contact them, instruct them this is an urgent matter, because we're going to have to look at our budget. So it's a twofold situation. Let's get a little more background for me now. In addition to, we're going Sandy, we're going post Sandy in reference to that paving and what needs to be done. At this point, and I actually have been on your road, my kids bike ride through all of creation, and I have a tendency to follow them. So I know they've been there and I've been through those streets. Everything that they say I know is accurate. And I know, like you had said, there are teachers on that road also that I'm aware of. We clearly did not complete because those funds were being removed. I'm thinking that this has been so long now and the deterioration of the road has gotten worse. This isn't going to be just, we need a top coat here.
No, Mayor, William Street would be a top coat. As the resident indicated, the inlets are higher than the pavement because you never put that final 2 inches down.
Okay.
It was graded properly. It just never had the final paving on it. So once you put the pavement down, that 2 inches, that should address the drainage problems on William Street.
Okay, so it can be as simple as that. My concern was with some of the deterioration that it would be even more work, but I trust you. That's why you're the engineer and I'm the LAL.
We would have to take a closer look to make sure there aren't any other issues, but that's the reason that the basins are higher than the road, because the top course of pavement was never put down.
Mhm. Does anybody have because they're talking about more than one street, so we need to have a budget.
Go out. Thank you, Donna.
Yeah, he needs to evaluate those arteries and that main road.
Or George, have George go out and make a report.
We just went through the process for selecting roads, and the Old Bridge section was not on the list of priorities from the Public Works Department, but we can take a look and give you some estimates as to what it would cost to do the balance of the roadways, and then it would be a policy decision to decide how you want to deal with that.
Right. That sounds great. I did just receive I received a letter just in my packet this morning. Trying to think here. Regulations required to work, that's a different one. I wanted to ask Denise quickly. You probably already have that. This letter regarding our latest roads that need to be sent in order to utilize funding that was sent to us, grant notification, that your municipal aid grant awards must be awarded by November 16th or they will be rescinded. Did you see that, Department? I'll send this over to you. Mhm. And I'll actually send, I'm just going to send this down to you also. Denise, this is regarding the safe routes with schools, and I don't know why we received it. This is another document that we also received. I don't recall us actually putting in a request for any type of project. I just want you to look at it and see if it needs to go over to the school instead. That might be their notification. So yeah, I want to send it to Denise first because it was directly addressing our budgets and what we received. Any other questions from the public? Please come up. Please come up. Mhm.
Okay, so my first question is, with a grant or for the county, can we go to the county?
I'm
Because-
sorry, one more time, name and address again, because
Okay.
unfortunately Jess doesn't turn, so.
Okay. Eileen Donahue, 27 Charles Street, Old Bridge, New Jersey. Okay. Saraville section of Old Bridge. My question is, with getting funds and getting this escalated instead of waiting again, because that's kind of what I understand happened. And then Hurricane Sandy came and there was a pause, the funds were backburnered and then it fell off track. So my question is there a way to get this escalated? I know someone from another county and they work for the municipality and that's typically how it works. So is that in the cards to go to Middlesex County to ask for funding? And second, when will we know what's going on with the lights and with the whole development, not just William, the whole development being refurbished, because of the.
That's a much bigger undertaking.
Understand it's cold
yeah.
patched city and then they come in and then it's a temporary fix, as the gentleman on my street said. So that's like, we're happy that they come to get rid of the holes, but it's a supplement, a temporary fix.
So let me, I'm going to refer obviously to our professionals here, but one thing in reference to the lighting, I can't give you a timeline on that right now until Dan reaches out, because that's going to really not be our timeline. That's going to be the timeline of the power company also. I'm assuming they're going to need to come out, do their assessments and everything. So I can't give you a timeline on that. I can say that in reference to anything relating to the county, I'll defer over to Denise on that. That's not just the simplest ask. I think what we will have to do first is send our engineer out, turn around, determine what type of work needs to be done, so we have an idea of what the cost is going to be.
Just to clarify, the county typically doesn't come in and pave municipal
Yeah,
roadways. They
that's-
used to have a program years ago where they would assist, but they haven't been doing that because of their workload. But as far as time frame, we can meet with the Public Works Department. We'll evaluate the conditions of the roadways, give you some cost estimates, and we'll have that for you for your next meeting.
Yeah.
You can decide how you want to go forward after that, but
And
we'll have it for your next meeting.
it sounds to me like this is something that's going to be borne upon our regular tax burden. So that's
only-
something we'd have to.
Mr. Franklin and I were talking about CDBG funds that
Okay.
area may qualify, so there may be a potential funding source there that could assist, but we can
Mhm.
look into that further.
Right.
Okay, thank you
So
very much.
you're welcome. Any other comments or questions? Okay, hold on. I'm going to have Barbara come up first. For the record, though, I will say any place that we can get money through the county, we knock on that door extremely loudly. We ring on the doorbell and we talk directly into their ring so that they know we're coming and we need help in cash. Hi, Barbara.
Barbara Kilcummins, 22 Schmidt Street. I'm always a critic. I'm always here like telling you what I find is wrong. But I'm coming here tonight to thank you because I could not get over how quickly the things that I had brought up to you were rectified. The senior windows look great. I hope we get shades that are all alike. River Road was cleaned up from the hurricane debris. I saw a street sweeper down my street. Thank you. And speaking of that, I think you really should buy another one. If we have over 600 streets with one sweeper.
No argument here.
Definitely, I saw today that you're purchasing another side loader and all this equipment and machines. We really do need another street sweeper. And I don't know if
wanted
you
to
put it
ask
in, if your
about that.
budget's passed, whatever.
I wanted to ask about that just when they were questioning it. Is that the side loader that we lost at the dump? That was the one that, oh Lord, otherwise it tipped over at the dump. It actually was destroyed when it was doing one of its, when it was.
So now we don't
unloading.
have a sweeper?
No, I'm talking about the
Oh,
dump truck. The
oh.
other sweeper. Yeah, I want another sweeper. I remember when, oh Lord, Steve Grillo was on here with us. What was the cost of the street sweeper back then? Do we remember? I'm all for it because
Because many
it's,
people complain to me, they have never seen a sweeper on their streets.
I-
Well, it's impossible. 600 and some streets.
yeah, there's no
Just one
way.
sweeper.
I'm with you, Barbara,
Okay,
100%.
thank you. Detour signs, another pole went down on Main Street, whatever, and coming
Yep.
through our neighborhood. Again, I was so happy to see on Pulaski Avenue and section detour signs put up to help the people that are not from Sayreville and all to get out of,
And that was
you
a
know.
long one. That was a long fix.
yes, repaired. Under the bridge under Minnesink, where you walk, was cleaned up with the dead squirrel and everything. Thank you. I want to personally thank Kirk Mick for getting, and I'll give him a heart attack. I'm always complaining, the poor
We
Kirk,
have first responders in the house.
always complaining to poor Kirk about the lawns. It's summertime now and the high lawns and all
Yeah.
are not being cut and all. It's the same people every year. But when you stop and think, we have new people moving into town and they're probably unaware of the ordinances. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Dupont, but I think we have over 500 ordinances on a book. And they don't know our rules and regulations of the community or whatever. So even if you give them a warning or a notice to drop, like, please, with a time limit to take care of your property or whatever. So it really does help, but I've been noticing different areas that it has been cleaned up. So that's, I think, my list of thank yous. But there's still a lot of work that has to be done and improvement. I know with Jersey Central, it's time to cut trees and debris or whatever. I really would have a request that they do not spray. They can cut all they want, but please do not spray. The spray looks awful. They wouldn't do that in an affluent community, trust me. I know
You're right.
people that work for Jersey Central, Rumson and everywhere else, they wouldn't dare do that.
Or if they did it, they'd be right there picking it up before it turned brown and
Exactly.
I
So,
hear
I
you.
mean, if you put a request in, Mr. Frankel, to Jersey Central to not. The other thing was, why did you change the name to Active Adult? Was
That goes over there.
That was the request of
by whom?
of the Walks on Aging.
Pardon me?
Walks on Aging.
I mean, that's ridiculous. It's senior center. That's gonna cost us money, change signs and everything else, and we're gonna know Active Adult. It's like,
That's what they want. They want, they give
okay. I still have a minute and a half left. The thing, when I'm pretty upset, and I hope that the mayor and council would take a stand on this, is I've been hearing through the grapevine that we're going to have a referendum for $95 million placed on the ballot for the Board of Education to put in air conditioning into schools. $95 million, what would that increase on the taxes and everything and the burden on the property owners of this community? It's like, of all times now, where people can't afford to put food on the table with inflation, with gas and whatnot. And I mean, Murphy tries to keep a lid on it with 2%, and then he sends us a couple million and everything to help. And I think this is just poor timing. And if with the mayor and council would even approach the Board of Education or the superintendent and request later date, not right now, for a $95 million referendum.
I know there's a Board of Education member all the way in the back. I don't know. I'll refrain from my
But years
comments.
ago, when we had a budget, when the Board of Education had a budget, they had to bring it to the council for approval. And then it got changed when
Got
the and
changed.
the people voted on the budget. And if it was defeated, then the council had to cut and whatever. So
Right.
it still had a part of the budget.
And
You know what I mean? A say in the budget of the Board of Ed.
when that oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to speak unless you have something else to say. I think the time was up. I didn't
No.
want to interject
No, that's
into your
all right.
statement. That changed under Chris Christie. So a number of years back, when he turned around and said if Board of Education's moved their elections,
Right.
then we lost, well, really, the residents lost the opportunity. The
lost their
public
say.
lost the
Exactly.
opportunity to give their comment through a vote, through an action if something was over the 2% cap on the budget. As long as it's under now, it's automatic, it goes through. Same thing as far as I'm aware of with the law when it comes to those referendums where there used to be more say or at least collaboration between the two. That no longer exists under those changes. So I definitely hear what you're saying. I'm proud of the fact that we've been able to communicate with the Board of Education more so within the last year or so, trying to do the right thing as a whole. But there is still that divide partially because of legislation.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it is frustrating.
I think it's a terrible burden to place on the residents of this community, really.
I'll be
Because what
curious
will
to see.
your taxes increase to for a $95 million referendum?
There's no doubt that our buildings, I live in them, I work in them and
Right.
stuff. They are definitely in need of a lot of it. You've been going to the Board of Education
For over
meetings.
30 years.
Absolutely. So the infrastructure needed to be addressed a long, long time ago. When you let things go, costs and everything becomes crazy. So this
But a
is
lot-
definitely
excuse me, but a lot
difficult.
of- Many meetings they had, and the board would each year increase maybe $2 million and address either roofs, windows, whatever. But now a clean sweep of air conditioning. When they passed that $55 million referendum for the addition on the high school, and I was extremely vocal about that because a lot of things were left out and a lot of errors and whatever. There was no air conditioning placed in then when they had the opportunity. And I was very upset because Monroe at the time built a huge campus for 84 million.
Yeah.
And we were just adding on an addition to our high school for 55 million. So that's why I was completely involved and very vocal.
I think you're going to a Board of Ed meeting is what you're telling me.
Yes.
So,
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Well, with COVID, I've been out of circulation. for a while,
circulation,
but
yeah.
I'm going back.
So, and if you sit back there, I think you need to talk to Dan a
Well,
little.
I did. That's where I got my information from though, too. So part of it,
It's a good information source. He
Yeah.
knows his stuff.
thank you.
Thanks, Barbara. All right, anybody else from the public? Come on up. I still don't see anybody online. Do you, Nicole?
Good evening. My name is
Hello.
Kathleen Tomey. I live at 2110 Clemic Place.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that one.
2110 Clemic Place
Thank you.
in Morgan's Bluff. And I want to address the excessive rent increase. It is insane. Some of my neighbors are here with me. It went up 20%. That's crazy. 20%. And to my understanding, there is no, thank you.
Rent
I
control.
keep forgetting that term. There's no rent control in Morgan's Bluff. I understand there are some apartment complexes that are limited to 2% or 3%. Mine went up 3% last year. I was a little nervous because of all the price increases everywhere.
Mhm.
Gas, food, you can't even go out to eat anymore. And I knew it would go up some, but I never dreamed of 20%. I can't even stay there. There's no place to go. There's no place to go. People have been selling their homes because they're getting crazy amounts for their homes. And then they're renting, but now the rents are going up. And what are people to do? I can't speak for all my neighbors, but I do know some of us are already living check to check. I don't even bring home the money they want for rent. I don't know what I'm gonna do or where I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna let.
So Mayor, if I can, you know what, this has been a common complaint here within Sayreville. And so what we've done is we've reached out to not only the state has given funding mechanisms to tenant organizations to advocate for tenants, but in addition, you have the right to object to any rent increase that has not or does not meet market rate. So any, price gouging, any type of, exorbitant fees, I have to be honest with you, I've been practicing law 35 years. I've been doing this for quite a long time. And when I hear 20%, that sounds to me a ripe contestant of a legal fee or of an objection to a rental increase. So the question is, well, what do you do as a tenant when you're confronted with this situation? So there are some advocacy groups that I reached out to last week when I heard this through the grapevine that tenants in Sayreville have been experiencing. So I had the opportunity to speak to the Council for the Rent Leveling Board. I also had Mr. Franco and I reached out to a couple advocacy groups on behalf of tenant organizations. I have not gotten a response back from those advocacy groups yet in terms of how do tenants, I know what you need to do. You need to object to the rental increase and file an application with the landlord tenant. There are some advocacy groups that will help you file that. I know they've been funded by the state. I just haven't been able to get a response back because many people are working remotely. I haven't gotten a phone call back in terms of giving you resources or the Rent Leveling Board resources to advise tenants when they reach out to them. Because based on my understanding of the rent leveling ordinance here in Sayreville, if the building was built a certain period of time before a certain date, it's not exempt, right? It's controlled by rent leveling ordinances. If it's built after a certain date, there is no rent leveling ordinance requirement. So I've asked the entities that I've been seeking to call me back, and then I'm hoping that I will get a response very shortly so that I can relay this information to you so that you understand your rights. You do have rights. You do have the ability to object to an exorbitant fee of that nature of 20%, because it does have to be market rate. If it's not market rate and you attempt to, or they attempt to evict you, you have every right to object to that. The question that I have is, many tenants are saying, well, wait a minute, it's either paying a law firm or paying my rent, right? And now these advocacy groups have the ability through state funding to help tenants protect their rights.
And is there a way, Mr. Dumont, for the tenants to petition to join the rent leveling board? For the building to qualify, even if
You'd
it's
have to
past
you probably have to change the ordinance to, right, to do that. There's a little more than that, it's just not petition. But your state senators are very active in this particular matter. It's one of the people that I'm, one of the advocacy groups that I've been waiting for a call back. But I know the state senators are on top of this. We've been directed to reach out to these advocacy groups, and that's who I'm waiting for a call back. But when I hear 20%, that's outrageous.
What's to stop them from doing that again next year?
Well,
Even
again,
if I could afford the rent, I could struggle for a year and then what?
no, see, that's, you all need to object now. And I'm hoping that, I'll be able to give the borough clerk and the mayor and council some advocacy groups where you can go to. But I don't have that information yet.
Mike, it would probably be stronger for them to do it as a group as well, right?
Oh, without question. If there's a blanket 20%, in the apartment complex that you live in, sure, that makes a whole lot of sense to do it. But I don't have a advocacy group where I'm going to say, okay, hey, man, you contact, this advocacy group and they will then assist you in filing an application. I reached out to the landlord tenant, myself and Mr. Frankel reached out to the landlord tenant court today. We left a message just to see if they have any advocacy groups they can refer me to. We haven't gotten response back. They do have some, if you go on the website, of the Middlesex County Superior Court and you hit landlord tenant, you'll see some self-help information. But I was really looking for the advocacy groups that have been funded by the state to assist tenants in working out these type of situations.
So, I'm sorry, I was going to ask a question to Mike really quick.
Are they raising amenity fees also?
I didn't get that far. They won't give me a copy of the lease. They only gave me the choices of 1 month through 13 months and the different rates, and they're waiting for my response to decide whether I'm going to stay there or not, and for how long before they give me a copy of the lease. That's what I was
Yeah,
told.
that's not right.
That's what I
That's
said.
not right. And so you should be filing not only a complaint with the rent leveling board, but also DCA, who is responsible for inspecting, overseeing, and managing apartment complexes throughout the state. So if they're not giving you a copy of the lease, that really concerns me, and I think it concerns everyone sitting on this dais.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is this 20%.
My eyeballs almost fell out of my head.
Yeah, I
They'd be raising the fees too, but she
Right,
doesn't know. 'cause they're
right.
not giving her
So you know what
The amenity fees are whether you use the stuff or
know,
not.
it's
Even during the
You know
pandemic,
what?
when everything
I
was
know.
closed, they still made us pay.
If you give Mr. Frankel your name and number or the borough clerk, I'll reach out to you in the next couple of days.
Okay.
Hopefully have that information
Appreciate
for you.
that.
And you could pass it on to your other residents.
I
So let me ask this question just very quickly of you, Mike. Clearly, part of that, we do not have an ordinance in essence eliminating these types of enormous hikes within our, for our renters. And that's one of the reasons why we're seeing this, because,
Well, we're seeing it that apparently the complex that she is in.
Yes, I
is
know.
exempt from the rent leveling board ordinance.
Right,
So
okay, that's-
what-
Is that exempt only because bounded by the dates, the dates that it was made? So anything that.
What I've done when I had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Nolan on Wednesday or Thursday of last week, I specifically addressed that. And so he and I are going to meet at the end of the week to kind of coincide to see what steps can be taken.
Mhm.
Apparently, the apartment complex that she resides in is exempt from the rent levy ordinance, and I don't know why.
and you don't know why. Okay,
Still
that's
need to
it.
know what the exemptions are,
Right.
so we can better understand how to handle the situation, because it's new to me. I thought that our rent leveling.
That's
board
why I was
handled
asking.
Rent leveling. So the fact that there are definitions outside of what we have vision into, I think we need to get a handle on that. And I think the newer bills-
They send emails for everything, or there's a coyote in the area that's, please clean up after your pets. They did not email me on the prices. I had to ask for it. They actually sent me a text message saying, oh, we're sorry. We tried to fight for you about the rent increase. And I was like, what are they talking about? I didn't even get the copy of the lease yet.
So Mike, you're going to be in contact then with
So
Kathleen.
I'll be in contact with you, Mrs. Tomei, is that right?
Tomei, yes.
Tomei. And I will reach out to the rent leveling board attorney tomorrow, and then I'll probably call you on Wednesday.
Okay, great.
And in the meantime, it is important to turn around with the neighbors that you do speak with. If they're seeing the same type of increase, same type of circumstance, there is obviously strength in numbers, and it would probably make things a lot easier for us to advocate to our senators and to the people higher up.
It's
in
not
the-
only that, but I need you to reach out to DCA
Yes.
tomorrow and say, this
That's
is what,
huge.
this is what, and it's called the Department of Community Affairs.
Okay.
So this is, and they have a specific department who covers this information and these type of complaints. These are the type of complaints they want to hear about. And these are the type of complaints that you need to put in writing and say, hey, listen, the apartment complex is 50, 100, however big it is. And say, this is what
120.
yeah, what we as
approximately.
tenants are facing. And this is the experience that I have seen just in my own circumstances.
Some people have signed contracts because they just figured they didn't have.
Got nowhere to
choice.
go.
Some
So it's,
haven't, and some know it's coming.
yep. So,
Yeah.
I'll call you on Wednesday.
Okay, great.
And then you
Thank you
got
so
it.
much. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Brian.
your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else from the public? I see none online, so come on up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Charlie Cradaville. I'm the Central Jersey organizer with Food and Water Watch. Our New Jersey headquarters is located at 100 Bayard Street in New Brunswick, and I'm here to follow up on my remarks about the proposed power plant in Casby that I made at your last meeting. So first, I'd actually like to just read into the record a letter from the Sayreville Environmental Commission. I think it sums it up very well. So this letter is to the Borough Council. Quote, Competitive Power Ventures has proposed to build and operate a 630 megawatt gas-fired power plant in Casby, New Jersey. The plant would be sited directly next to an existing gas-fired power plant that is already emitting millions of tons of greenhouse gases and toxic pollutants that are negatively impacting public health and air quality. The proposed gas-fired power plant would be sited in the Casby section of Woodbridge, less than 1 mile from Edison and Sayreville. Each of these communities has been designated as overburdened under New Jersey's new environmental justice law. These densely populated areas would be adversely affected by adding a major source of pollution, with Sayreville facing the worst impacts. After discussing the issue at our April 5th meeting, we are writing to urgently ask your support for a resolution opposing this project and calling on Governor Murphy to impose a moratorium on fossil fuel projects in environmental justice communities. Local governments in Edison and Highland Park have already passed such legislation, taking a stand against a facility that, if approved and built, would become one of New Jersey's biggest climate polluters, bringing us backwards in the fight to protect public health and create a sustainable and resilient clean energy economy. Pollutants produced by the plant would include particulate matter, ammonia, sulfur dioxide, sulfuric acid, carbon monoxide, volatile organic compounds, and nitrogen oxides, which contribute to the formation of acid rain, ozone, and smog, and known carcinogens such as formaldehyde. Exposure to these pollutants is linked to cancer, neurological, cardiovascular, and respiratory disease, premature death, and birth defects. Building a new fossil fuel power plant that would operate for decades also directly contradicts New Jersey's legal commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 80% below 2006 levels by 2050. Governor Murphy has signed laws and issued a wide range of executive orders to fight climate change and promote environmental justice by transitioning New Jersey to 100% clean energy by 2050. We need Governor Murphy to uphold the state's commitments by rejecting this gas-fired power plant proposal. Please consider this letter to be a strong recommendation that the council adopt the attached ordinance as soon as possible. So I also wanted to follow up on some of the remarks made by other members of this body at the last meeting, and I hope you'll be a little lenient with the time, because I did want to respond to both Councilwoman Roberts and Councilman Minoha, who spoke about the issue of generation capacity versus demand. And so I will thank Councilwoman Roberts for speaking to me after the last meeting and clarifying that the power outage in South River had nothing to do with electrical generation capacity. Indeed, it was
Clarify further when you're done.
Sure. Indeed, it was a transformer that blew, and I was told it was an incorrect example to bring up in that context. And I do have some questions, if I may, for Councilwoman Roberts. So she mentioned a study that said 2 electric vehicles on every street that would, quote, blow their grid up. Through you, Madam Mayor, for Councilwoman Roberts, can she cite the who conducted or published the study that she referred to?
So I will ask Councilwoman Roberts. I do remember that was one of the comments that you had made.
One of the neighboring mayors, and the mayor who has the grid on his own, the South River mayor had mentioned a study like that. I could get more information for you. If you ask for that specifically before, I would have been prepared with that.
Okay, yeah, I would absolutely like to know
Further, I
that.
mean,
That was Mayor
Source of that information.
Krenzel. Mayor Krenzel. Okay, so we would
Thank
have, yeah.
And Councilwoman Roberts also predicted a 90% increase in electricity demand. Again, through you, Madam Mayor, may I ask, what is the source of that figure?
The data that I provided at the last meeting was pulled from EPA data. I can give you the handout that I had provided at the last meeting, but I do not have that here today because we had covered it. And I do have some other answers that you had asked for last time.
Great. So if I can address Mr. Enoja's remarks, he challenged me to provide, some kind of analysis about the existing generation capacity and what needs, if any, there are. And so I will just say that, I kind of disagree with that framing that, we should have to prove there's not a need for something. We're not the ones trying to build a massive polluting power plant. The company obviously should be the ones to prove there is a need. But because Mr. Enoja is a nice guy and asked a fair question, I wanted to do my best to present, the math that I could find. I also want to thank Mr. Robinson for his remarks. He correctly pointed out there's actually 4 existing gas power plants in Sayreville, in addition to the 2 in Woodbridge. So, we're talking about Parlin Power Plant, the one that's on River Road, the Sayreville Energy Center, and Red Oak, as well as the 2 in Woodbridge, C. Warren, and the Woodbridge Energy Center, which is run by the same company. You add.
That is our 5-minute time on that. I will let you ask that question though of Councilman Enoja, so that way he can respond.
Yeah, I actually don't have questions for him. I just wanted to present because he had asked me to figure out if.
I do, Councilman Enoja, you did ask him to bring that information. Councilman Enoja, I assume that you do want to hear what he found. So I'll let you continue responding
Thanks,
to
and I'll
what
be as brief as
Councilman
possible. So
Enoja
if you look online and you add up the number of megawatts for each of those facilities, it's a total of 2,716 megawatts. And if you look up how many homes are, powered by 1 megawatt, it's, changes from depending on various factors, but about 750. So, doing that math, we're talking over 2 million homes, enough energy to power over 2 million homes. Worth noting, not everything in Middlesex County is a home. There are other things that draw electricity. The biggest sector is actually transportation, which doesn't always draw from power plants. Obviously we fuel up our cars these days, but as pointed out, there's a transition happening to more and more electric vehicles. So let's assume that we're talking 100% of all the needs. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, 29.5% of New Jersey's electricity demand comes from residential. So let's just multiply that by 3.398 to make it so everything is drawing from these power plants, even though that's not really the case. But just in the interest of argument, Middlesex County has 287,971 homes, according to the most recent census. Multiply it by 3.39 for argument's sake, we're talking about 978,000 homes as a unit that would need to be powered. But again, the existing capacity is enough to power over 2 million homes. So even if the 90% increase that's been predicted occurs, the existing generation capacity that these 6 existing plants in Sayreville and Woodbridge provide would be enough to meet the needs of the existing homes, businesses, transportation, everything times 1.9 to add that 90% increase, which I don't know for sure the source on that, but we're talking about still, even if worst case scenario, the existing generation capacity meeting the needs of Sayreville. And so I did want to just present that math because Mr. Enoja asked. And
I appreciate
thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
I'm grateful, a few weeks back, not as though we disagreed, but when you're stating a claim that we have power plants, so we don't need it, the essence is, can you go further? Can you kind of break down why you're claiming it isn't needed so that it can be for the record? Because our fellow councilwoman stated that we do need it, right? That she gave us paperwork that, apparently the EPA is suggesting that there's going to be an increase. So I'm glad that you're able to respond with although I'm not sure if you really stated the sources overall. Hopefully you can do so if possible, but I think that your math, as I'm getting it so far, is adding up. So I'm grateful for that, by the way. All right.
And thank you for hearing me out. I'll continue to make myself available for questions and would reiterate the request to be able to make a presentation to the council with even more information about this proposal and why it's bad for Sayreville.
And just to reiterate, so the letter that you read from the Environmental Commission, that's by the whole Environmental Commission, including the chair. And Donna, did you see that through electronic communique?
And I
Good.
did, I also, well, we can talk about it.
Yeah, so they're asked, because this is something that I think, this is where the council has to make, I think, a decision on how they wish to respond to the environmental commission, which is our environmental commission. Their ask to us is basically to formally oppose the power plant that's being, that's being built in Woodbridge. So just wanted to, because I was at the beginning of your statements, that's something being asked of us.
Things changed from, that was dated, the letter was April 5th or before our April 5th meeting, so there have been discussions.
So one of the things that I did say in this forum last time was that I would open up for presentation by the Environmental Commission, by the chair, hopefully and communicate with you as well, to come forward to formally address the council on their asks and stuff, although I do appreciate you reading that into the record. I think that we do need to think about that, and I would sincerely implore the Environmental Commission Chair to come and ask of the council what was also put in writing, because I don't like our committees thinking that their asks are falling on deaf ears. So I do think it's something to be cognizant of here. I don't know what direction we're going in. I appreciate that information. I tried to research exactly what type of power needs so that we have through those plants that we do have existing. So I appreciate you bringing that to us and saying, we do have that power capability here. We do have substantial amount to do what we need to in our town. I'm still trying to balance out what is that benefit, and the more and more I read on those toxins and the potential issues, and I do still have a call out to the mayor of Highland Park as well. Thank you.
Thank
you. Okay, anybody else? Hi, Mr. Izzo.
Robert Izzo, North Edward Street. I kind of came on a whim tonight, so I didn't really come prepared, but so obviously there's been the issue of speeding on my block. I've worked with Ms. June Forth, Sergeant Braille. I talked to him not too long ago. And, you know, we did our whole thing with the radar and increased police presence, I guess. The radar got data, which was good. You know, I spoke to him roughly a little bit after Memorial Day. I feel like Memorial Day weekend, my street was like a racetrack again. He said he'd increase police presence, which, like, you know, during the day, I don't know because I'm not there. I kind of feel like nothing's being done. You know, we got the radar, we got the data, and a lot of the things we talked about in the meeting, like, you know, 0 to 9 miles an hour is not really enforceable. Like, okay, I get that. But simple math, speed limit is 25 miles an hour. Let's say you're doing 7 miles an hour over the speed limit, it's 32 miles an hour. That's too fast to be driving on a residential block with the concentration of children that are in my area. And I reiterated it time after time after time. I'm not up here for me, I'm up here for the kids, my kids and my neighbors' kids. And honestly, like, I feel bad for Sergeant Brill. I'm not up here to attack him. He has 2 guys working under him. His hours are 7 to 4, Monday through Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Like, what are we doing with that? I see the speeding problem between 5 and 9. And sure, if I'm standing out on the sidewalk watching my kids play, sure, people just slow down. They do 10, 15 miles an hour. It's all well and good. When I go inside to eat dinner, I see cars flying by. And like I said, I don't have a radar gun, so do I know if they're doing 30 or 27? I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Like, I'm tired of seeing cars speed up and down the block, and it's the same offenders, and sometimes it's like how Ms. Kill comes and says, power line goes down. All right, well, we got to figure out a way through town. So, oh, there's North Edward Street. We're just going to zip right down there. And like I said, you know, like, we're going to increase police presence. Are we? Maybe during the day, but I'm not there right now. But it's also summertime, so my kids are. And, you know, we have school resource officers, right? Like, there's armed police in every school. Well,
Yes, we do.
Yeah, school's not in session, so let's put them to work, put them out in the street. And to be completely honest, like, I don't care what kind of tickets you write, and I don't care because I know it's, you know, we don't want to upset people that live at the other end of the block. I don't care. Pull them over. Say, listen, the reason I'm pulling you over is because you're doing 7 miles an hour over the speed limit. Maybe you don't have to write them a speeding ticket. Write a seatbelt ticket. What's that, like $50 or something like that? It's not a lot to hurt, but it's gonna hurt. And maybe it'll remind you, next time you drive down North Edward Street, you're not gonna do 32 miles an hour. Maybe you'll do 25. But like, I just feel like it's getting ridiculous. And I don't know what else to do because, You know, I come up here and you know, I've been coming up here for 6 months and, you know, luckily Barbara got her stuff taken care of. You know, we started doing some stuff with mine, but you know, we can't even get a cop to like hide on the block to shoot radar. Because what do you do when you see a cop? Everybody slows down. But what, if you don't know the cop's there shooting radar, guess what? You're not gonna slow down because by the time you see him, it's too late. So how hard is it to ask a cop? Maybe just to park behind a car or something like that. And I know we can't have a cop on the block 24 hours a day, and that's not what I'm requesting. But the slow drive-by, that doesn't do anything. Hide on my block, hide in front of house 24, because you'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone on that one. You'll stop the speeding on the block and you'll stop the kid from selling drugs. So, you know, I mean, can we do something? Maybe a little bit more proactive than reactive? And I'm not up here attacking anybody. I don't know what happened in town today, but it's really good to hear that something was done. And Mary, congratulations to both of your sons on what they did today. Like, that was great to hear. I didn't even know about it, but yeah, but like the fact of the matter is we saved 1 there, but like, God forbid something happens on my block, there's like, my neighbor's gonna blow a gasket. But we got to do something. And I know there's speeding all around town. My block's not the only block, but these people that complain about the speeding also, like, is there a high concentration of children like mine? Because, you know, we had a couple move away, but there's still probably at least 10 to 12 children at any given time. You know, it could be all of them, it could be none of them, it could be 2, 3, 4, whatever, but they're under the age of 10. And I mean, like, what are we gonna do?
Time. Councilwoman Dunfor, the mayor had requested that we have a meeting all together, correct? And I know that you were vigilantly trying to get a meeting with, I believe it was Captain Plumacher, Sergeant Braille, possibly even Chief. I don't think they were responding to our request for a date. Was there any update with that?
That happened.
The meeting,
We had that meeting and it went.
the meeting happened.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, that was when I was away and couldn't attend. So what was the solution in that meeting?
I think that was, you had come up here after that meeting to
Yeah,
kind
that
of talk
was-
about the plans that you guys had put up with data. I'll let you speak
Yeah, we
on
made
that,
some
Mr.
headway there. They shared some of the data and, you know, I thought it went pretty good. I spoke with Sergeant Braille and unfortunately we're gonna do a slow down my town campaign roughly around Memorial Day, but you know, it's not him, but it's just more excuses. The county doesn't have signs, the county doesn't have stickers put on the garbage cans. You know, we blame this one, we blame that one, but still nothing gets done. And I'm not saying that he's blaming people or it's even his fault, because he's got a lot on his plate. Like I sat down, I talked with him for over 2 hours in front of my house
Right.
one night. And the amount of stuff that he's in charge of,
Right.
I mean, listen, I'm not,
My husband's a director of traffic and he's a department of 1 in a 1 mile square town. And I know that, you know, he's jealous of our 3-person plus secretary department. So we have discussed increasing the department, but as of now, I believe it's adequate. Did he share with you the results to that study of the traffic?
yeah, it was, I don't remember the exact numbers. There was some speeding. The majority of the speeding was, the average speed on the block was 23.7 miles an hour.
Right.
And I think that was the first week, there was 3,000 cars that had passed by. The majority of the speeding was in that 0 to 9 mile an hour frame. Then there was some speeding, 10 miles an hour plus, and then there was one at 66. So the data was good. I'm glad it wasn't as bad as it was. And maybe because I live there, it's like, you know, I see it from a skewed view. But the fact of the matter is there's still speeding and like, but
I just wanted to ask, did that report also, thank you, Donna. Did that report also state what times of the day that most
Yeah.
of the speeding was happening?
yeah, it was broken down hourly.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to pinpoint. Like he said, like through all that information, they're gonna try to formulate the best time to like flood the area and do enforcement. But you know, we haven't gotten that far. And I know when I spoke with him, he said he's backed up with all the stuff he
Well,
has, which is
Are
unfortunate.
we also able to tell, can we inquire if they've issued any speeding tickets on that road?
On that road, but they have been issuing speeding.
No, I know
Yeah,
they've issued them, but
there's been
on his
increases.
road, because he's been here for months and months, you would think that somebody would get out there for at least a little while and issue a dozen tickets, make a statement. And if you check the records and they haven't, I don't know that they have, and I'm hopeful that they have, but if they haven't, that is something that deters people. At least hey, somebody's writing tickets out there, let's slow down a little bit, and you keep doing it. I would like to know that they've issued some tickets.
We have been.
I hope they have on your block.
That's my point. Like, I don't know what happens during the day. Like, I
But
leave
you're
for work
saying
by
that from
5.
5 to 9,
Yes.
what you're experiencing, but it's not based on the data? It's just.
So the data
No,
shows a
there-
monthly just blanket, how many tickets are issued. That's the
Data
report that
also
we're
shows by
given,
time
but
as
we
well,
can request per street. And I think we need to request per street moving forward.
Well, I think the data shows by time,
Mhm.
but you're saying that from the, hold on, I hear that you're expressing that from the morning you're not around,
Right.
but from your personal viewpoint, it's between 5 and 9.
Well, that's
But
what
you're
I'm, like, I leave for
but
work.
does the data also support that it's from 5 to 9 as well?
Yes, there's the
Yes.
data
Okay,
basically
okay,
shows that there's
okay.
consistent,
I
it's
have a
not a
copy.
lot of speeding, but it's consistent numbers throughout the day.
Okay.
And like, that's my argument. Like, I leave for work, I'm usually gone by 5 and I'm hopefully home by 5. And then like my kids are outside, it's anywhere between 5 and 9. Hopefully they're in bed by 9, but that's when I'm primarily outside and that's when I hear it. Or if I'm even inside and I just, that's when I'm home. So that's when, I notice it.
One of the things that I did just shortly after, because I wasn't able to make that meeting that you guys were all together with. I did speak to Sergeant Braille and I had asked him to share with me the data that was collected during that time period as well. And Councilman Ano, I recommend he'll gladly share it because I know he
Mhm.
shared it with you too. He gave you
Yeah, he's
what he
he's
had.
been-
He's great with that. And then it was my understanding that based on the data that they pulled, they were coming up with that plan as
Yeah.
far as how to monitor that area. So I think that everybody, because I was happy to hear that when you had come up and you were saying, okay, I got a plan in place. So I think what's happening now is even though that plan was put into place and you were happy with that initial response, now we're seeing that lull again where it's continuing to ramp up. So
Yes.
now it's like phase, okay, we did all of those common sense things. We gathered the data. They believe that they had a targeted way in order to at least address when things were happening, but it seems like things have gone back or have not changed substantially. So maybe it's time to entertain another conversation and see how much further we need to go and how much further the council is comfortable with going on that particular street in consultation once again with Sergeant Braille.
Right, because like I said, we had a great conversation when we had the meeting and all, and I feel like I said before, like the guy's got a lot on his plate.
Yeah. And I know he wants to help. That was his thing. It was, he wants to.
Right,
yeah.
I don't want like and no, I don't even know if this is offensive to say, but I don't want the lip service or like the excuses or whatever, like I said, I don't care if it's seatbelt tickets or whatever. Like just write some kind of ticket because I don't care. Write a ticket to somebody and just get it out there. Like we always use South River as a reference, which I thought about that the other day. I don't even think that's a thing anymore because people fly over the South River Bridge. So
No,
like
it's
that
a
example-
programmed, yeah.
That's that
It's
example.
because it's a
is null and
conditioned
void.
response now. It's-
Right.
that's-
So like, how about we just ramp up and just like, even if it's 0 tolerance or whatever, and I understand that Sergeant Brett, like his hours don't really help me, so to say. So like, even if we increase patrol or something like that, like something,
Mhm.
and I'd just like to see something done. And then just another side note, like I know everybody comes up here and they have their time and all, and I try to be respectful and be quiet back there. I'm not saying about anybody in particular, but it would also be nice if the residents, when other people are up here talking, kept the side conversations to a minimum because it's distracting because I can't always concentrate and hear what other people are saying. Like the gentleman that was up here talking about the energy thing, couldn't really pay attention. So I'm saying this to you, but hopefully it's going through the microphone and reverberating back that way, that the side conversations are kept to a minimum. And, if you want to have a side conversation out the back doors, so the rest of us that are here can give you or whoever's up here speaking their full and undivided attention, that'd be great. So
Thanks, Mr. Izzo.
I guess with that, I'll close and I'll probably be back next month. So thank you.
Thanks.
Councilwoman Duenfar, can you please ask moving forward for the reports to be broken down by street?
You can ask.
Do you mind me asking? I mean, I don't want to step on her toes because I know that she communicates with the police.
Well, I do communicate with the police, and actually today I sent you an email because I received an email which was sent to Councilman Conti, and I did question, and I was like, I didn't know that he was a liaison, so you should check your email, I forward you some information. I don't mind your third liaison. You can definitely talk to
Okay,
them.
so then moving forward, I'm going to request a report broken
Submitted
down
some
by
reports
street
from police before.
and, right,
And you're
and
the council
then,
president, so you can go ahead.
correct. So moving forward, I'll request it by street and hopefully we see an improvement, Mr.
But you can
Rizzo,
just
on your
keep me in the
street.
loop if you can, please.
No problem.
Okay. Anybody else from the public?
Yeah, they sent you an email.
I see none, so entertain a motion to close the public portion and adjourn the meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public portion and adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Roll call, please. I'm sorry, all in favor. Oh, is there a hand? No, I'm just looking. Was there a hand up?
No.
No, it just says chat. I'm sorry, separate motions. Can I, so we'll start with our motion to close the public portion. Let's redo that just for Robert's rules and for legal precedent. Can I have a motion, please?
To
to
make
close
a
the-
motion to close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, do we need an all in favor for the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our first meeting. We'll move into our second unless the council needs a break. Mayor, do you need a break? Are you? Okay. Is everybody okay with moving forward? We'll just wait a few moments so that council chambers can exit. Thank you for your comments. I will not do a pledge if people are moving out. So I'll wait for council chambers to exit before we move to our second meeting, okay? If you want to stay, or did you need to pass info over, Bo? Did you need to give anybody info? Oh, okay, I thought you were waiting for Jess. Sounds good, thank you. What? Last, for everyone to please rise for a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Statement of publication, please, Jessica.
Take notice that this agenda meeting of the mayor and council being held this 27th day of June 2022 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Conti, June 4.
Here.
Mar,
Here.
Novak,
Here.
Noha,
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Okay, seeing nothing under old business or new business, we'll move directly into communication and committee reports. Administration and Finance, Councilwoman Novak, please.
Yes. Make a motion to receive and file the minutes and departmental reports as listed under the agenda, A 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
Thank you.
There was under B, that's going to be referred to open space. It's a request to purchase a certain block. on
Okay.
Vision Street.
Is there, thank you. Was there a question on the council? I'm sorry. No? Okay. Continuing.
Okay, other than that, we did do 2 of the ordinances today. That'll help us get a little bit back on track. As everybody is well aware,
Who's that?
when you order a piece of equipment now, not only have the prices increased, which we're trying to, get ahead of, but also there's a lead time, it's like 1.5 years on some of the vehicles. So I appreciate the council supporting the bonding ordinances. Even though we approved it in the Capitol, it's still nice to see us move forward the bonding ordinance. And Mayor, I would like to thank you for what you said earlier. Neither of my children told me anything about it. And when I quickly texted them to find out, they said, what did we do?
What did we do?
What did we do? I mean, they just considered it part of
their job.
But thank you for letting
Yeah.
me know.
I-
For anybody like this, but when I hear 2 of my kids' names, it's pretty special.
It-
And to the family, of this child. Was it a boy or a girl? I don't even know.
I believe, do we have that? I don't know if it was a little boy or a little girl. I'll have Dan double check it. We don't
know.
have,
Do
we
not
don't
know.
know if it's a little boy or a little girl.
Well, I can't, having a brand new grandbaby, you know, that just turned one, it's something pretty,
That's the same thoughts. I have a niece now that is officially 1 month old today. And
it's
when
scary.
Dan shared that with me and I found out, I took a pause and I said a prayer, and we really do have some absolutely amazing first responders, officers, fire. To think that this is something that they see as like a part of their day. They are lifesavers. They are heroes. It's miracles.
Charles in particular, one of his twins was in Robert Wood from Monday through Friday. So,
yeah,
you know, helping kids is foremost in his mind right now. And that's really spectacular. So thank you for letting me know that, because they wouldn't have told me.
Of course.
Talk to them all the time, but they wouldn't have told me.
I'm glad to have been able to share that with you. All right.
Then that may have progress.
Thank you very much. Planning and zoning, Councilman Anoha.
I like to receive and file the following minutes and departmental reports for construction, fire prevention, zoning and code enforcement and planning board minutes from May 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
I'd also like to receive and file the notice of adjacent communities for public hearings that were held before the Sayreville Board of Adjustments for numbers 1 and 2 on June 22nd, 2022.
Is there a second? Thanks.
I'd also like to receive and file the planning board resolution to memorialize the 1831 to 1851 Highway 35 LLC subdivision site plan.
Jessica, I didn't check. Was that typo corrected in that one?
That I have to reach out to the planning board secretary in the actual resolution.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Just to, yeah.
I didn't.
So let me just, which resolution is that? Put my glasses on. It was on page 2. The distribution of acreage. There's not, I think it was 73 acres. There's not
76.
yeah, there's not that much in the entire project. So that has to be a typo.
I missed that.
Okay, so do I have a second then on that receive and file, and then we'll look for that correction?
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And anything else, committee reports?
Overall progress, I mean, a lot of, I've noticed from some of the reports, there's been more revenue, for different violations and different things, but I mean, more revenue for the borough sounds good. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Public safety, Councilwoman June4.
With pleasure. I move the following minutes/reports be received and filed 1 through 3. I like the way that Councilman Novak did it, so I'm going to adopt that. And, oh, thank you. And committee reports, I have good news. For the first time since I've been on this council, I finally received some reports from our BLS, from Sayreville and Morgan, and it was forwarded over to me and Councilman Novak, which I forwarded to our council president because I saw that some of our liaisons weren't a part of that email. So I forwarded to them. So Council President, you should have received it. Councilman
checked.
Onoha, you should have received it also. And I noticed that in our BLS, we had 133 responses, 104 transport. From Morgan, it was 48. From Sayreville, it was 90. For our court system, we had 16 virtual courts, 837 moving violations, 8 inductions. In reference to police, our police reports is something I need to probably talk to the chief about because I saw something in our report and I didn't understand it. I did ask one of our council member, which is Councilman Onoha, what that meant, but I would refer to Councilman Conti, which he used to be public safety liaison. I don't mind asking him that question, but if I'm not able to get further detail, I will contact the chief as to further detail. The theft in our town has gone down. That's good news, but the number of assault has gone up, which is something that we need to work on. Another thing also is I'm really, really proud of my team members and I'm glad to represent them. The emergency medical services, God bless them all. I would like to congratulate Councilman Novak. You're doing an excellent job even as a mom. And you raised two fine young men, and they're doing you proud, even in this town that we all live in. And that's a dream that every parent would want. Every parent would want that dream. And I'm really, really proud of our police officers, our chief. The chief has great men, and I'm really excited. And women, the men is actually general, even when men, like human.
Oh, human.
Yeah, so it's a general term in English. So if you are English major, our teachers, amen. Our teachers in the building is a general term. So you can say human, you don't say human woman. So it's a general terminology. And I'll actually like to appreciate all of them, our firefighters. And I also heard some great news about the St. Anne's Carnival. And another thing also is I look forward to working more with the police, and I'm glad to be a part of their liaison. They're doing us a good job and they're doing us proud. Thank you so much. That's enough for my committee report.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Councilwoman June Four. Let's move forward now with our next report, which is always tucked up top there, Public Works, Councilman Conti. It's always right on the fold on me.
I move the following minutes and reports be received and filed, A1, 2, and 3. And a request was received for a block party for, from the residents of Latham Circle on July 2nd.
All
from 1
paperwork's
to
in,
10.
Jess? Wonderful. This is, we got to start keeping count.
Yeah, I think this is, well, I should say it's a record. I've only been doing this for about a year. But we've had a lot.
Yeah.
It's great. That's a great sign for our town. Everybody banding together and having a good time. So just a couple of things. I am thrilled to hear that Ann Terrace is being paved this week. So those residents should be thrilled and will not be coming here and getting angry with us. So I'm delighted to hear that. Mr. Dupont, I definitely want to stay close to you on the rent leveling board situation and see how we can help. Whatever we could do to help, just to make it easier, provide a forum, advocate for the residents who really can't advocate for themselves.
Yeah, you know, the funding is, if we follow funding, we'll follow to the advocacy. And so that's why I went out there. The tenants were very appreciative of
Yeah.
all the ears and eyes on them this evening, and including the older woman over there.
Irene.
You know.
Oh, on the other side.
It's over her walker.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely got her.
I said, this is a good way to lose weight. This is definitely, you know, I'll follow up with you.
Yeah. So, and St. Stan's was jam-packed this weekend. I was really happy to see that. You know, tons of people there. Saw a bunch of our residents, talked and said hello and just had a good time with them. And from what I saw there, everything was, the police were out, making sure everything was okay with traffic and folks. I didn't see any trouble while I was there with that many people, with that many kids. And it's nice. I like to see the kids growing up, from youngsters to older kids. It's really nice. I was happy to be a part of that. And also, you know, I just wanted to mention Shade Tree Commission. They've got things planned. They are, you know, again, this is the first time that I've been involved with Shade Tree, so I haven't seen it in the past, but they are working together with DPW and others around town to do some nice things at Kennedy Park, checking out, making sure the trees in our neighborhoods are dealt with appropriately. And if they're not, you know, making sure that something happens there. I know they've got another poetry contest coming up later in the year, which, you know, I know we were thrilled about. So, you know, those are just nice things. They do a lot of nice things. They'll do more come Sayreville Day as well. And so I'm just, it's just nice to see. So I'm just happy to be a part of that. And, you know, aside from that, progress. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much for that. We're going to move on to Water and Sewer Environmental. Councilwoman Roberts, please.
Thank you, Mayor. First is minutes and departmental water sewer directors report for the month of May. I'd like to have that received and filed.
Second.
And I would like authorization to support the swift passage of S 330, which restores energy tax receipts.
Yes. Is there any objection to that? Okay.
Okay, and other than that, some of the things that we've already talked about in the original session. talked about our rent leveling. I do have a letter, maybe our attorney or business administrator can help. Gary Latanzi has to step down from the planning board. And apparently he got a letter about being fined $100. So I have his letter here today. It just came to me this week.
Oh, annual financial.
Oh.
Oh, is it, what can we do to help that?
It's on appeal from the state. I don't know what the outcome's gonna be.
Okay. Would it be all right if I gave you his letter, a copy of his letter, just to have on file? Yes.
My email as the appeal, and then they said, so they were going to appeals and get it back to me, but
Just so that you have it, you will do that? Okay, so I would like a copy because he sent it to me, but is this the right letter? Yeah, from Gary, yes. Now I lost the list. There it is, okay. All right. We did see the grants, which are great in our resolutions in the previous meeting, so we're gonna see some fields done. Residents called me about water on Smullen Street. Just to clarify, the work is gonna start getting done, if not today, very soon. The water was leaking, it was not an emergency. I just want them to know that I spoke to Dave earlier today and the repairs are expected to be done. There's nothing keeping us except weather. So that should be resolved. I did have a call from a senior who was having trouble with her contractor and the senior, what adult? Active Adult
Active
Center.
Adult Center.
Said that
AAC.
said that they have some lists of contractors for her to use, so that's a great resource I was not aware of. And I did find out, I did try to pursue if there was any way we can group services for some of our seniors in town to get their lawns mowed. And from what I understand, those kinds of features would work if homeowners have an association that they work through, because those companies don't like doing it piecemeal. So that's problematic. So hopefully we can still find some help for them. We talked about that. And I did want to congratulate Nick at Noon from Riverton for his silver award recipient for the Maxi Award, which is a Direct Marketing Association award for Riverton. So that is a nice accomplishment I'd like to acknowledge. Saw him at the St. Stan's Carnival, and I saw Vinny and Mary and Michelle working the tickets. I was working the food tent. So we worked. It's so rewarding.
We're working the beer tent.
Who was working their way through the funnel cake?
It was a great time, and the 50-50 there was over $26,000.
Mhm.
So that was very
And
successful.
I didn't win.
It was none of us, so sorry.
I spent $110.
And it was one night less than usual.
Yes.
It used to be Wednesday,
point.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
I also want to say I had great conversations with the chairs of the Environmental Commission. We are working together, and there are so many people helping with the garden. Councilwoman Mayor did a great job setting that up, and it looks wonderful. And the donations that are coming in for the things that are needed is amazing, how much people care about that. And finally, I want to let everyone know that our internship program will be moving forward. We have a meeting with Dr. Labby and some of his teachers from the civics department to start building a civics program. So we should have some high school students working with us in September. And the burden of all of that, of course, is on Jessica and Nicole. With the mentorship of the council and mayor, I hope you would participate.
Absolutely, 100%. I was on board with this from the moment you and I spoke. How long ago was that? That was January, I think.
I think we even talked about.
Even before, absolutely.
Right, and it just like.
Yeah, and COVID put a complete stop on that. So this is one of a fantastic initiative. I'm so excited to be a part of that, 100%.
Lots of good things to say, so thank you. Back to you, Mayor.
Okay. I thinking you're starting to rival council
I was
president here
thinking
just a
that, I
little
was
bit.
just thinking that.
So we got timers for both of them. No, I'm kidding. Recreation, council
All right.
president, you're on.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes reports be received and filed. Recreation Department report for the month of May 2022.
Second.
Applications for a special event received from the following: First Presbyterian Church to hold a community gathering fundraising event on church property on August 20th from 12 to 6 p.m.
Any objection? All paperwork is in on that. Do we need any paperwork on that one? Yeah, they did. Okay.
Request from the Historical Society to hold a flea market in the parking lot of the Active Adult Center on August 27th, 2022.
Any objection? Great. That's going to be excellent when that parking lot's in place next time.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be done by.
No, I don't think so either.
All right, committee reports. While we're talking about the Historical Society, thank you to them for hosting the UES. My son went on a field trip there, and I'm councilwoman doing 4 years too, possibly. And I know they learned a lot of great things about Saraville, so thank you to them. Also, thank you, Mike and Dan, for addressing this rent leveling board issue, concern for Morgan Bluff. Hopefully, we can address those concerns of our residents. Thank you to the Shade Tree Commission for a second round of plant donations at Kennedy Park. Everyone can enjoy all the new things at Kennedy Park when they attend the fireworks this Saturday. We have a band, rides, food. I think there's a hot dog eating contest. We have, it's going to rec department is really planning a great event for everyone. And I know a lot of people come from faraway towns because our event is such a great one.
The biggest event that we have in Saraville all year.
Yes. St. Stan's Carnival, yes, was such a success. So congratulations to them. All right, so some of my things I'd like to address, the electric vehicle initiative. So I just received some paperwork that it looks like we have to apply. The state must submit an EV infrastructure deployment plan by a certain date. Dan, are we doing that?
We're in the midst of doing it right now.
Okay, perfect. The Scouts last weekend, they were supposed to, I haven't followed up on this yet. If anybody has any update, they put markers out in Kaepernick Park as people walk around.
I don't know if they did that already.
Okay, so we'll follow up on that. Dan, recycling, I know recycling was an issue last week. A lot of people were concerned that the recycling wasn't picked up and on the usual day. There's a merger happening.
So, yeah, if I can.
Yeah, sure.
So the company that we contract through the county with a company called Solterra. Solterra has had some employment problems. Solterra was bought about 3 weeks ago by a very large waste company called ILW. With that will come infusion of both capital and people. So I think that problem will be
Remedy.
let's say remedy, okay? But whatever happened that the garbage, if your recycles are not picked up the day of, almost a guarantee they'll be picked up the next day. It's just that there's been a lack of manpower. And Solterra, I think with this infusion of new money, will be okay after this.
Okay, speaking of lack of manpower, our bathrooms in our parks, why are they not opened? This is inexcusable. We have bathrooms there for a reason. They need to be open. Do we have summer help coming?
We have Johnny on the spots at some places. If we have those bathrooms open, it's going to cost us overtime.
But we're also paying for Johnny on the spots.
Well, it's a lot less for Johnny on the spots. So if you want the bathrooms open, it's going to cost a lot of money right now.
Can we start with one bathroom
If you want
open?
to suggest with one, I'll go over with our superintendents and try to find, just give me what suggestion you'll have, and I don't mind trying it on a trial basis.
I would say Kennedy Park, since this weekend is
I've
a,
heard other places, so if whatever you people would like to try, that's.
I really think all of our bathrooms should be open.
Yeah.
We have 3, they can be opened in the morning with absolutely no overtime because the people are working 3 nights a week. We do have second shift janitors that can close them without any overtime. So it would be 2 nights a week closing and overtime Saturday and Sunday for opening and closing. And I really think it's time to get them opened again because people really abuse those Johnny on the spots. And people go to our parks, we're spending all of this money and they're going in these disgusting porta johns.
Now,
And I understand when we did it, you know, because of COVID, but I think we should be opening our bathrooms now.
Well, hold on, let me just ask one question about bathrooms. So during the day, obviously makes sense. But when the parks are closed, those bathrooms should be closed. Yeah. So,
Excuse me, our night janitors can, without any overtime, but they only work 3 nights a week, close the bathrooms. So for 2 nights a week, we would have to pay somebody overtime to come in and close them because they do get closed at night. And then on weekends, unless we have somebody working, like, let's say the parks are in because of their, you know, they're doing some kind of cleanup, so they're already in, then we would not have to invoke overtime because they'd already getting paid overtime to open and close them. There would be some overtime involved, but I really think the residents of this town deserve to have bathrooms.
Especially if you're there with children. You can't hold an infant in your arms as you're going to the bathroom or have to make the decision to leave them in the stroller unattended while you use the bathroom. It's inexcusable. All right, moving forward.
Wait a minute. Do we have a consensus on that so Dan knows where to go? Because we kind of left them hang.
who's the public works liaison again? Vince? I knew that answer. I just wanted to verify. You know, do you want to reach out to, you know, Phil or whomever, and then, you know, obviously.
Yeah, maybe Dan, we could talk. Maybe let me check it out. and we can put something together.
Burke's is probably open right now because camp just started.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
So let's start with Kennedy since we have events happening all summer long.
I mean, take a look at it and
Let's
see,
figure
figure it out.
And see what the story, see what the estimate is to. It will be cost, but.
Guys, if we
Let's just-
wait until the next meeting, after the summer's going to be over.
Is anyone opposed to not opening a
We
bathroom?
only meet twice all summer. If we don't make a decision that we want the bathrooms open, it'll be July before we even meet again.
Can I ask, are we going to have only porta johns for the 4th of July celebration? Or are we opening them for that particular celebration?
On 4th of July, even if the bathrooms were open on a 4th of July celebration, there has to be porta.
Oh, you
johns
need the
brought
porta
back.
potties. There's
I was-
just too
I
many
wanted to know, Are
humans.
we doing both?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say yes, because we have our men there already, so they open and close.
So I don't hear any opposition.
We'll chat about it.
Thank you. Okay, Councilwoman Doomed, I did check my email. I received, you sent me the EMS report. So I am looking for the moving violations report, so I'll request that. The Cool to School, I'm on the Blue Ribbon Committee for the Cool to School referendum. And just to be a devil's advocate, to promote the other side of the argument, or just to relay the other side of the argument, our schools now, anytime it's 90+ degrees outside, our schools are closing half day. So that is less learning time for our students. Global warming is real, and we have more days where our students are now leaving school half day due to high temperatures. Teachers are posting on social media that their classroom temperature gauge is 90+ degrees by 9 a.m. Our employees deserve humane working conditions, cafeteria workers, secretaries, janitors, maintenance, et cetera. Many of our town residents work in these schools. We are losing valuable employees to other towns with higher pay and better working conditions. Our teachers are still working without a contract, which is horrifying, and our students are suffering. My children are suffering when good teachers are leaving the district for those reasons. All right. I'd like to request to memorialize the pride flag for the month of June. I don't understand why our residents have to keep requesting it year after year, Mayor. What can we do?
Don't look at, listen, I'm the one that brought this to us for the very first time. I have absolutely zero, everybody knows how I feel. That flag should be up every
Do we
June.
need to vote to memorialize it?
I do not, I think that you might have a bigger I don't know how to deal with that without conferring with the attorney, because there were conversations brought up here about fear of litigation. I just don't understand what the big deal is. And I know that there were some people saying that we remove the American flag in order to put up the LGBTQ plus community flag. That's not accurate. As a matter of fact, that flag hanger was actually installed specifically for that. There was never one there before. I have no idea why this is such a enormous lift every year. I don't know why we have to revisit it every year. We've done it for 3 years, but I'm gonna have to defer over to the attorney on this
Well,
one.
you can certainly, memorialize that in resolution, but I've also, have 4 other flags. I have found a flag raising policy. I found a property policy. So I'll give that, pass that out. Property Management Department flag raising rules, but for Pride, sure, without question, you can, if there's a resolution that you want prepared for the next meeting, you could certainly pass that and have the Pride flag flown in accordance with the precedent.
So if that comes to resolution, there'll be a vote on it. Listen, I have no problem saying right now, if it comes to me, that's a vote, that's a yes for me. So I 100% stand behind the community of all of our LGBTQ plus, because I forget the rest of the letters. I just want people to understand that Saraville is a warm, welcoming place, and we want you to live your life happily in whatever way you feel.
Thank you, Mayor. On the same hand, Juneteenth, it's a federal holiday. Our borough offices need to honor it as such as well. So why are we not?
That's something you guys have to vote on, I think, right?
Well, now that Juneteenth has passed and now that 2 of our unions are up for negotiations after this year of the contract, that could be addressed in contract negotiations. It would have to be addressed. The other 3rd union is the police, which they do not get off every federal holiday. Do not get off every federal holiday. So we could address that in negotiations as Juneteenth being a federal holiday in the next ASME and SAM's contract. We can do that.
Thank you. Skate park, we have requests for lighting. Much, if not all, the lighting at the skate park is out. And 2 Yankee trips from the recreation center are posted. One for, I believe, one for the end of June, which is any day. My phone is dying. And then one for July. Other than that, progress.
All right. They are.
Maybe that's why the lights on.
I think the tennis course lights though are on.
Right. It prevents
So-
graffiti though, I think.
It keeps that area lit. I
And
mean,
now with our mural right there, and if you've seen the mural lately, it's getting more and more beautiful each day.
but I'm quite certain, that, I mean, every time I drive by at night, I know that our tennis course lights are, because I'm impressed with how great they look because they have the new bulbs and stuff in there. So it's super bright and, I just haven't noticed that far back that the rest of them were out.
Hey,
Yeah.
so I have a comment. I don't know that it's a great idea. It may not be received well, but so they're having a flea market at the Active Adult Center. I've heard, you said it here about the parking lot being a disaster. Markets in the parking lot. Disaster. That is a good idea. We're walking around the parking lot. We said that it's a disaster and it's dangerous. We have to market there, dangerous situation. I think that just begs the problem. It does. People might say, well, we're paving the parking lot in a somewhat of a urgent manner because it's dangerous. You know, welcome people in there, walk around and
Open all the time. People with walkers and everything else
I
walk.
know, we just don't have flea markets in that dangerous area. They come to this dangerous area for a flea market where chances of you tripping and falling, pretty good, based on the parking lot. I don't love the idea. I don't, if you told me, well, no, it's not what we said. And we paid for a reason. Because when I said, let's not pay the parking lot, let's use it for you to find us inside the adult center. No, it's the parking lot, which I get, I understand that. But flea market? I don't know. new customer flea market. A lot of people, but at that adult section, they get a bunch of seniors in there. So, might get exposed to that for, risk. I'm just saying, listen, I'm just making my comments. I don't want to not have said something and then right after that, we find out that people without that. Same with.
So the request is from the Historical Society and they would know firsthand because I believe they have their meetings there.
Yeah, I would, anybody who's there should know firsthand that it's not. So, yeah. And look at my flea market and that's.
Maybe depending on the size of the flea market, if I may, maybe whoever could contact the Historical Society, maybe we should have it on the side parking lot over here. It's a flat parking lot. I don't know, I mean, if they're looking for a flat place to have it. We could also have it at the transportation center. We can also have it, there's other places other than I think they want it there because their offices are there. But it doesn't mean, I think you're gonna have the museum open that day. So you gotta work with them about safety versus, so if someone who's the liaison for the Historical Society, you may want to contact them and say.
So, and then what happens, sometimes they may say, they may talk themselves out of it, you can see. But. So. And after the video. So I don't know, I'm just saying, I've heard that.
So is somebody going to reach out then to the Historical Society in order to address this issue? I mean, we did approve the use of that facility for them. I understand exactly what you're saying, Vince. I agree. I think we made it public here that we were concerned about the
Yeah.
safety of it. So
That's just, it puts a lot of people there. On a regular basis, you've got your regulars who go there, but then this time. A lot of people.
Vince, you want to reach out to our historian, Frank Terrazino?
Yeah.
There you go. Reach out to Frank.
Maybe there's a compromise. Maybe there's cones and roped off areas and.
Or maybe the idea of the flea market isn't as big as what we're thinking that it is. Maybe they already have a plan to address it. I don't know. I don't know what their plans are. So reach out to Frank. He's great. He'll turn around,
Yeah.
let him know and,
And
you
then
know.
I could also mention about an alternate center.
Yeah.
That's the case. And then Frank.
There you go. All right, let's see. Are we at the end now? All right, well, guess what? This has been enlightening. First, I will just say two very quick things. Congratulations to the class of 2022 for all of our graduates from all of our schools, the middle school, the high school. I know it was a rough one. I give all of our graduates and their parents a lot of respect. I tip my soggy cap to you all because it's a tough call. It is such a tough call. There is nothing worse than having to make the decision. Do we get rained on? Or do we, and I'm sorry, I know that this was something someone shared with me on social media, or do we enter the gates of hell, which is what was when you go inside for graduation with that number of students, I don't care how you try to swing it. It is hot. It is not the same experience. And, that was a no-win situation. They were either going to be unhappy and hot, or they were going to be soggy and outside. I've sat on those fields as a graduate. I have sat on those fields as a teacher there. I think I would have opted for some water. because inside is just, how do you pick what two family members are going to be there in person also? So congratulations to graduates. We gave you another great story to tell your kids and your grandkids about how wet and soggy it was. To the middle school graduates, also our 8th grade class. I'm a little partial. I happen to have one in there. That was a beautiful day. It was an excellent ceremony, and I wish every single one of our young people the most success in life moving forward. You make us proud. With that, Progress Business Administrator, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. Authorization to execute a discharge of mortgage for property located at 30 Price Street. Authorization for the qualified purchasing agent to advertise for receipt for bids for, these are used vehicles that cannot be used anymore. Pardon me?
Yeah, these are the
Oh,
new
for the new ones. I'm
These
sorry.
are
For the
new.
sheets are the new ones. I'm sorry. Correct.
I don't want to buy.
No,
old
don't want to
ones.
buy all ones. We need to discuss, you received in your packet a request from the president of the PBA to
Mhm.
increase the off-duty rate for police officers from $75 to $85 an hour. We have to have a discussion on that.
Do you have data that supports what other towns are paying?
We're the lowest right now. Oldridge just raised theirs to 85.
You have to open the contract.
I don't know if we have to open a con, I don't think it's not a contract. Right.
Okay, just check.
Can you collect data on that,
I
Dan?
can collect more data on it, bring it back next meeting.
Dan, can I ask you, if the off-duty rate, is that paid for by Saraville, or is it paid for by the events for the off-duty service? Or is this
It's the vendors.
the
Yeah.
vendor? So it would not impact our bottom line.
No. Well, we were given some and yeah, I can get more.
I think the data he's referring to is that it's not costing us anything. That's the data, if you want to call it that. So
What would the downside of it be? Would people not want their events? I mean,
It's,
you want to talk about the, our entertainments with Mr. Lucchese with that?
it does, it causes, the off-duty price, it may affect work being done in town. It could be affect work done in town, not necessarily. I mean, it all depends who's paying for the hourly wage. These are the side jobs. That's all it is.
okay, got it.
Some of the jobs are still lower than that, correct? Like for the Board of Education, not the cops and but the Board of Education has some that they're only paying $55.
I believe that's true, yes.
How good are we, Denise, when it comes to reimbursement from these third parties in reference? Good. Oh, that's right, we did. Thanks, Denise. Thank you for reminding me that. So that could be more data for you. Okay, we're actually getting payments from third parties because we went outside to get the collections for that. So just something to think about. Any more discussion on that?
Does this mean that people are calling out to take on these extra side jobs?
No.
Okay.
No. We're not losing manpower. for
All
that.
right.
As a matter of fact, I recall there's so many what's going on. They don't always have cops, so sometimes.
Well, sometimes they call the state police,
State
sometimes we
troopers,
call
yeah.
South Amboy, right, sometimes they call South River, right?
So it's not anybody
Yeah.
pulling out.
When Verizon was here and everybody saw them, there were alerts all over town. I've never seen something, so I was getting calls at home. Verizon's here, they're moving. People were following them, but we had troopers for them, and for the even Cablevision and so forth, so.
There aren't enough police officers that, put in for it because, maybe they already worked their 6.
Their number of hours, yep.
We do go to other towns and state police for extra help,
So is that a yay on this then, or do we still need to collect the data? And is there any objection? Is there any objection to the increase from 75 to 85? All right, data's been received and collected. It appears that there is nobody in objection to that. Dan, does that help you?
Yes.
Thank you. Public
Author-
Works.
Authorization to promote Charlie Boyko to Grounds Maintenance 2 in the Parks Department effective July 1st, 2022.
Any objection?
I would just like to make an appeal. We are in need of summer help in our public works and water and sewer as laborers. If anybody has any desire to work on a part-time basis for the summer, they could contact or put your name into the, I'll say the clerk's office, and we'll take care of it. But we have immediate jobs right now.
Is this the first that it's being announced?
No, we have, it's been posted. We just cannot find people. So if
I
anyone
don't
knows,
think that's ever happened in all the years I've been here.
you have to be 16 years old,
Mhm.
and we'll drive you around. 15.
What date does it go into? Oh, yeah, till usually the end of August. Mhm.
So does school start?
Yep.
So
16 years old.
16 counts.
Mhm.
Okay, request for an ordinance for an annual stipend of $2,000 for employees that hold a certification to perform vehicle inspections.
Any objection?
That's it.
Okay, that takes care of your report. Denise, any report?
Nothing, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Jay, any report?
Remember, one item, I think you passed around a notice about the state advising you about you have to award a contract for South Minnesink Avenue by November.
Yes,
It was.
that's what it was.
You received a grant, there's a deadline in awarding it. There's some pending construction work on South Minnesink Avenue by the warehouses at base
Yes.
construction. We don't want to go through and award a contract and have them have to come in and install the water line after our work is done. So we're looking for a resolution asking the state to extend the contract date that you can award it for 6 months.
Okay,
They'll allow you to do that. And if we can get it done within the earlier timeframe, we will, but we want to schedule it to make sure you don't have any conflict. So you need a resolution at your next meeting.
okay, great. Thank you
Okay,
very much, Jay. I appreciate that. I should have just passed that way. Yes, no problem. Thank you. No objection to that. So we'll have that resolution for the next meeting. Mr. Dupont, anything?
No report, Mayor.
Wonderful. Any need for exec?
No.
All right, public portion for those that are remaining. Anybody have any comments which put on the record? Oh, I do have one online. Jim? Nicole's going to bring you into the public. Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Robinson, 11 Burrell Square. You were talking about Verizon earlier. I know a while ago, I asked Mr. Dupont and Mr. Frankel about FiOS, and at that time, I think they were meeting the very next day with representatives of Verizon, and we're going to get an update. And originally, I think we were told they were going to do communities that had above ground wiring first and not underground. And I'm wondering if there are any updates, especially in District 12.
Great question. Yes, Dan, do we have any more updates? I do believe that what you are hearing is correct from all of the people that I had spoken to, also in other towns. And yes, they were targeting the areas that were above ground when it came to wiring and so forth, because obviously it was easier, cheaper, and didn't require as much manpower. I do not know where they are now, because I will say they were here for, I want to say at least 2 weeks, at least 2, maybe even 3 weeks, all over the town. I have to say, they seem to have disappeared in a very, very short amount of time. So I don't know where those, can we get, try and reach out again and see if we have any way of getting a little bit of an update? But thank you. Literally, our residents were so excited. They were actually stopping the vehicles on the road. They were getting, and they were actually questioning the employees that were climbing the lines. I don't recommend that, but they seemed to have the most information was really coming through the residents.
Yeah, I did that too. I stayed on the ground. I didn't climb any poles with them.
Yeah.
I did learn from those guys who were contractors that I used to work with in another capacity. But if we could find out, you know, in Sarebrook and Reflections, part of District 12, where I have some folks that are asking me, that would be appreciated. And the folks that are in President Park, they were very happy to see what they were getting.
Will do, Jim. Anything
Okay.
else, Jim?
Nope, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you. Anybody else from the public? Wonderful then. It looks like we're ready to entertain a motion to close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Motion. I would just like to say one thing. I've been discussing this with Denise and we said that we were going to first look forward to that extra money from the CARES money to buy the fire truck. But we also did commit that if we did get the CARES money, that would buy the fire truck. And since we're going into, I discussed it with Denise, we're going into the summer. We only have 2 months. If we wait till August to find out if we're even going to get the money, it would be another month to do a bonding ordinance. So she's advised me that we can do first reading on a bonding ordinance. Next meeting, the second meeting in August, we can do the second reading. And if the money comes in, we don't have to actually ever sell the bonds, but we'll be prepared to get the fire truck should we not get the CARES money.
Okay, what's the will of the council? It looks like you have nods in agreement. Is there any opposition to that? All right, wonderful. Denise, thanks for that information. Very good. So that will be next meeting then. We'll have a first reading at our next meeting.
Only takes 2 meetings.
Yeah, it does.
Do all summer, so.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen. She really had you sitting on pins and needles there, fellows. Is there a second for meeting adjournment? All in favor? All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a great night.